Hello everyone, welcome to our first episode of Chat and Sip. We're super excited about our new venture.
So as we know, the wedding industry is growing day by day, and having someone capture your special moments is so important. All your events go by so fast, you want to relive those moments and you wait for your photos and your videos. So speaking of that, today we have a very special guest on our show who will be talking to us about his photography and videography skills.
And he's a filmmaker. His name is Onkar here. So without any further ado, let's go to the studio and go chat and sip on some coffee.
Our first guest today is one of Edmonton's very own, well-known photographer and videographer,
Onkar here. We are super excited to have him here. He's going to talk to us about certain questions that we even posted on our page. He's going to be answering those, and he's going to give us a little bit more of an understanding about behind the scenes during the wedding season.
And hopefully this interview with Onkar will help you guys, your friends, your family, choose the right photographer or videographer for your wedding. So Onkar, we're so excited to have you on the show today. So we heard that you started photography at the age of 21. So what made you want to become a photographer?
About my photography career, because I just want to tell you, I was a student in a AppTech computer center. I used to study over there, and slowly I started work on different software in a computer. One day I got a Photoshop and experiment so many things at home, like retouch the photos and stuff like that. And suddenly I realized it is a good thing to do. So that's how I came in this line.
Wow,
and we also heard that you went to Jaspalpatti school.
Yeah,
that's really cool. So was Jaspalpatti actually there?
That time sir was there, and he opened this school I think in the year 2006 maybe. And I was on a tour to Shimla. And on the way to Shimla, there was one big advert, now you guys learn photography and film in North India first time. Because usually people go to South, like Mumbai or South side of India. And it's hard for North side of crowd, especially the Punjab crowds, to learn a new skills and all that. And I went to school and I met Mrs. Patti. She was kind of a CEO of the institute.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I saw all the stars. There was some film star from good movies. They all learned from there in the beginning. So that's how I started from Jaspalpatti Film School as an editor, and then I met many directors and other crew people.
And you obviously made your way here in Canada, and you do a lot of weddings, and you're a videographer and photographer, right?
Yeah.
So which one do you like better, photography or videography?
It's really hard, to tell what I like most. It started by chance. When I start as a photographer, I click the photos into Photoshop at home, and someone said me, "Can you edit the video too? Because it's same kind of stuff."
Okay.
And I said, "Let's try. If I can do Photoshop, then it's somewhere, because Adobe make so many application under one name. If you have Adobe Photoshop and you have Adobe Premium 2 for the video editing, it's the same column. And it's just the one click away. You can open the video editing software." So I opened it and I started getting knowledge. Those days YouTube wasn't work especially in a village area. Yeah, it's all your imagination. For example, people know about the editing things. If you have a new file in a Photoshop, mostly there is a new file in a new project in a video editing. So you have to find a new equal new, and there is an import photo, and similar you can find an import video. So that's how I started with the ideas, and in a few days I realized, oh, I can do video edit too. But again, for a good skills, later I need to join the Jaspalpatti Film School to make more sharp.
So how many do you think you shoot in a year?
As a group in a Punjab, I think we shoot it almost every day.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Because in India, like they have weddings even on weekdays and stuff. Here, it's mainly on
December,
weekends.
January.
Yeah, they don't.
Months here that people don't get married. In India, it seems
Yeah.
like a popular month.
Like I first heard about a weekend weddings when I was in England in 2009. Then I realized, oh, wedding happened on a weekends, not on a Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
And because back in a home, like I'm pretty sure still the photographer doesn't know about a weekend.
Yeah.
They just remember the date.
Because they just book on a Tuesday, Wednesday.
They don't care about the day. They goes, because in India people are kind of free, and they can join like any day your wedding.
Yeah.
So we just need to remember the particular dates, like December 12th, December 31st, Jan 1st, like popular dates. So we all book those dates like in the really beginning of the year, and we know all, and especially I work for my friends. Like we kind of a group, like 5 or 10 people, and everyone got a 10 weddings. So we have 100 weddings, like 10 people have 100 weddings, and we have to share each other work. From last 6-7 years, I think 6 years, it's start like to 25 weddings, 30 weddings, maybe sometimes 35.
Oh, wow,
it's in between 25 to 35.
And how long have you been doing this for?
It's more than 12 years now. Wow. If I count from day one, when I started with my start, but professionally I can say it's been 9 to 10 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we kind of want to help like people out there. There's new generations getting married. So we just want to ask you a few questions about photography and what people should ask their photographers, videographers, or what they should know. So pretty much
about
like
wedding packages and about like
do you do a first day edit?
Yeah, first day edit, it's a really popular now.
That blows my mind because I feel like in a wedding, I don't even have time to go to the washroom. And you guys do a first day edit. We see you guys at the beginning of the wedding till the end of the wedding.
And it's when do you have time like to do the first day edit?
I think it's hard to be editor and shooter to do a same day edit, but now it's very famous, this thing all over North America, and even it's a trend. And when we got a call from client, there is just one call, hey, you do the same day highlight? Yeah. And we need to say yes. And I love that, but I wish we had that. Yeah, but there is a plenty of things behind of it. Like the thing is, we need to hire one extra guy for a whole day who's gonna back up the footage, and then we editing like during the ceremonies. Whenever we got a chance, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because nowadays laptops are really good, especially the Mac Pros one. Yeah. So we can edit even during the drive, set on the back of the car, and just sorting out the footage. And the later of the day, if we got a 1 hour or maybe 1.5 hours, 90 minutes, so I know my all shots from whole day, so I can put them their positions, like some emotional shots, some excited one, ceremonies, and traditional shots. And there is some block shots which we use in every wedding, like a drone shot, wide aerial shots, like a home shots. So we have all those things.
So you have it in your mind already that this is going to be saved for the first day edit. Yeah. And so is there an extra cost for the first day?
There is because especially you hiring an extra person and whole days, but still it's not 100% like in a way of good editing. Later we re-edit all those scenes again, like with a lot of time, and we put some extra scenes, like which scenes maybe we shoot a later reception night, or so then we uploaded a full highlight after a month or later.
Oh, okay. So there's actually a full difference between the first day edit and the highlight.
Yeah. There is a different, like a highlight is like a good shots from whole wedding, edit in a very relaxed time from a whole wedding. And the same day is like still is good shots, but it's in a kind of rush, and maybe you can miss some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So how many pictures do you usually shoot per wedding? And do you give all the pictures to the client?
There's many cameras nowadays. It's kind of a synchronism photography. Okay. If you're shooting 3 cameras, 4 cameras, have a different lenses, a different kind of a prospect to shoot the photo. And we shoot it raw, kind of like a 3, 4, 5,000, whatever numbers according to the wedding. And then we sort out all the photos in a software, and pick good ones, like for example 1,000 good photos. And there is a first judge by me, like kind of I'm gonna deliver to the client. I don't want to give them so many photos to get it confused. Yeah. So, for example, nowadays a digital camera, like client say one photo, no, can you take one more, two more, and it's so hard to choose one of five.
People like to come to the back and look to see what they look like, and oh, not this angle, I have to sit here. Or
do you ever take stills from the videos, or do you take pictures and keep that strictly separate?
Not now, but if we missed something during the shoot in a photos, then I try to do to crop some photo, but it's not a good way in a professional way.
Yeah.
It's just there's actually a question from one of our followers. That, do you guys take stills from videos?
Yeah, I do sometimes for a few photos, 5 or 10 photos. Yeah. Not on every ceremony, not on every wedding. Yeah. But if we missed it, something is happening over there, we capture it as a videographer, but photographer is somewhere. Yeah. There, and we can do that. Nowadays the cameras are really good, but it's not a great way to present the photo.
Yeah. How long do you keep the pictures backed up?
I set them in a contract 10 years.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, because I know the value of wedding. Yeah. I did so many weddings in my life. So
have you ever lost all of them?
Yeah.
Oh, and then what did you do?
I found them very truly, you know what, there is a kind of memory, but I didn't lost everything.
So when do you back it up? Do you back up the footage right away on a file, or do you wait until after the wedding, or is that something you work on right away?
We do end of the day. Okay. Nowadays memory cards have a good capacity, so we do every evening or later of the day when we finish the day, we try to do backup and we do on a multi hard drives, for example, we have a master mirror, a second mirror, and and especially country like Canada, it's in a safety reason, I keep my OneDrive in a safe away from home always.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Do you have a safe or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what, another question we had was, the new generation, they're looking for creativity, they want something unique, they want something different. Yeah. So how do you educate yourself and keep up to date with the latest trends of, taking pictures and videos and all that stuff? Because when we look at your Instagram page, which you should all check out, Onkar Hair, you have such beautiful pictures.
I never think much before any wedding, I have to do this particular thing on this wedding. But yeah, one thing in my mind, to do different from my last one. Especially in the travel, if you're visiting a different city, the first thing came in my mind, okay, what is the best location of that city? The popular things when you do Google about any city, there is 4 or 5 good pictures came in a search. Yeah. And then you can realize, for example, if you go Toronto, there is some kind of CN towers and all those stuff will come in front of you. And every city have these kind of stuff. So I try to write down those things first. And second, I try to find my own way, raw streets, quiet places for a pre-wedding shoots, and especially I love the downtown things in all over Canada.
It's all about a vision and a photographer's eye, and we looking at your Instagram page, we saw that you're very creative that way.
Yeah, and sometime I found a photo from very normal place, people just walking through those streets are very normal every day. I found something over there, and I request to couple, can you guys stand over here for a few seconds? And they go, over here? I said, yes, over here. And let me shoot a few photos.
Those probably end up being their favorite ones.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
The reason is people think about photography, it's so, the planned things. People are oh, now Onkar is there, his camera, now probably we need to stand very professionally and pose and yeah. But in a way of pre-wedding photos nowadays, you can find something very quick, and that's how prepared myself to do any kind of photo shoot. But yeah, there is still themes. I didn't say I'm just walking around and taking pictures. There is a theme, every shoot have for example, someone have a hockey t-shirts for one photo shoot, and the next one is really raw jeans and trousers stuffs. So it's really depend on individual, like what they want, and what kind of look will suit more on them, like as a couple. So maybe sometimes people doesn't know, like if I goes to any bride, jumpsuit will look nice on you. He goes, oh really, I didn't wear whole life, just try for your photo shoot. And yeah, and if the dad, like, photos come very nicely, and suddenly I saw after a few months, oh, that's a DP of her Facebook profile now. Yeah, that's how I try to do a different look from the normal. Like normal look is pretty like everyone kind of see, like normal people, how they look, how they walk, how they talk. But in a terms of video and photos, it's just make it more kind of a glamour, kind of a out of box, the look which they didn't use for their whole life. Yeah.
So I wanted to backtrack to when we're talking about pricing and packages.
Yeah.
You know what? There's so much that you guys offer now. And sometimes people their budget isn't that high. They have a low budget. So how much are you willing to,
like what can you offer in their budget?
In their budget. Like,
right?
Yeah, like what will you cover for them? Like everyone wants nice memories, but not everyone has all the money to.
Yeah, I do some those kind of weddings, like where his budget is not big, but still if they covering like the time of me and my crew, and still, like, I believe like it's a good way to shoot, and a good money, still good money. But the higher package and lower packages, like when you do bigger package, probably you have a bigger crew, like many people in your crew, they all shooting from different angles. You making a same day highlight, you're doing candid photos with 2 photographers, you have extra photo shoot with the makeup girl and all that. So stuff goes bigger, like if a bigger package.
Just more coverage.
Yeah. And a more drama in a way of a wedding, like for example, like kind of a grand thing. Like if I'm shooting a small budget wedding, I know it's me and just the bride and groom, and probably we're gonna shoot for 30 minutes or 40 minutes. But of course, like
but in that you still cover like.
Yeah, no difference in creativity and eye. Like even it's a low budget, and still I have a same eye, but it's a little bit less coverage and not that grand.
So if someone wanted to pick, if they have a low budget and they can only get photographer or a videographer, which one would you
recommend?
Which one would you want?
Me, I think I would want photos over video. What about you?
Yeah, me too.
That's I heard a lot about it.
Yeah, okay.
Like I didn't even get my wedding video. I've been married 8 years, and my videographer didn't give me my video. He took the money, but didn't give me my video. But I have my pictures, and every anniversary, my kids, my husband,
they have a tradition. They
look at my wedding pictures. Yeah. And I don't think I would watch my movie that much.
Another question for you, actually. A lot of times, I know when Sherry and I go to weddings, like especially at receptions, what's the difference between nowadays the cameras look the same? What's the difference between like a photo camera and a video camera?
Like how do you know?
Because a lot of times Sherry and I
we're dancing,
and
then we're like. We just start posing with our index finger. And then the videographer will be like, "There's a video," and you awkwardly just move away.
You're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think and a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping we're not the only ones.
It's just common happen, like on every wedding, especially during the dance and the ceremony where people involved to perform something. And I believe like nowadays the camera are so same, like you can just switch the camera and take the shots. But for the video, I think it's kind of a movement, like when the cameraman is moving with the hands, and he's looking on screen instead of the viewfinder. Maybe if you can understand, like a viewfinder is a small thing when you use for the photos, and if you're using a big screen and just moving your camera, it means it's more video things. And if someone is using like this and try to press the button, you can know right down about this finger, like
yeah. It's like when you're doing the vatana, you stop and you're like, oh no, it's a video, keep going.
Yeah, that if there is a kind of a finger things like is ready to click the shot, you realize that it's a photos. And same time, if someone is like moving or have a handheld or a gimbal in a hand, like not ready to press the button, mean it's a video most of the time. So that's the first thing you can judge. And second, probably
the video, sorry, I'm going to clarify, it has like a handle on it?
Like a tripod?
Not the, maybe on a tripod, maybe the camera's in a hand, but it will be like the screen things, like is it checking screen all the time instead of viewfinder. Like a viewfinder is always for the photos, and screen is always for the video. And the next, like a video guy maybe have a gimbal nowadays, like with the two hands handling, or maybe tripod. And the photographer is all the time like have just the camera with the strap. So that's the most common thing you can judge. And the other thing, like maybe you can put your eyes in a cameraman eyes quickly. If he's try to set up you and just try to click the photos, maybe you will realize like
I might just look better doing this than trying to figure out what he's doing.
I think in the photos, like maybe you can see the flash on the top, the camera nowadays. In a video, there is a video light, it's kind of square. Many things there is, like you can notice.
Have you ever had a problem with, like, say you're doing the photography for that wedding, so with the videographer? So has there ever been conflict, or you guys didn't agree?
Did you guys bump heads or anything?
Yeah, it is. It's happened a lot. Like
because it's like you don't have the same image, and you have your own ideas, and that person has their own ideas.
I'm gonna tell you one more thing, like which maybe the Canadian clients doesn't know. The back and home in India, like everyone have two photographers, two videographer. Like there is a tradition, like not nowadays, but when I started my career, like the bride have their own photographer and videographer, a groom have their own videographer and photographer. So the four people are same time capturing in one frame. Like there is only one frame in a wedding. Like for example, there is a kind of shagan ceremony happening over there, and four people standing right in front of the couple, and people get confused for first they confuse about which is the camera for photo and video. The secondly, they confuse which is our photographer. Like might be if I'm looking at a groom's photographer and I'm
is it God forbid if I look at the
and I will look so ugly in the picture because I'm gonna see the album of groom's side. And I'm looking at a bride photographer. So
isn't that kind of like now when you're taking a picture and there's like 4 or 5 people with iPhones coming in front of you?
That's a really great question, actually. It's happened a lot now. There's Snapchats and maybe the Instagram and the stories things.
We was a photographer. We're like, are you done? So now it's our turn.
You're like trying to get your picture.
Yeah, and mostly the. I read one kind of article back in the UK. I forget the name of photographer, but he said, like, if you want to book me, I don't want any small cameras, micro cameras, even the phone, because those days, like iPhone was very new in 2007 or 8, and the people just started taking pictures with the iPhones and all that. And he said, you know what, like if my bride is so confused about a photo in a big camera and instead like she's looking in a small iPhone and all that, it make me annoying to take her photos. So I'm not able to take a good pictures. And one of my friend questioned him like, what if you lost your all picture from your camera? At least some people have.
It's like, I have them all.
I think if the photographer told me that, I'd still go behind someone.
Yeah, I just realized it's not gonna stop. Like even in the bigger wedding, even you can see some fat weddings all around the world, people posting pictures so fast. But yeah, still there is a difference between professional photos.
There were like hardly any pictures. I wanted to see more.
Me too. I waited.
So but if you wanna see their professional pictures, it's really different from the iPhone ones and all that. So that it's kind of a headache nowadays for a photographer and videographer to manage.
Portrait mode on the iPhone. How do you feel about that?
It's good. I use some.
Good, right? I use it on my kids sometimes.
But to be honest, the thing they put in a portrait, it's in a camera for many years.
And you can like swipe left and then you look so good in these pictures. But how long does it take you to edit? Like, how long does a couple have to wait to get their videos?
With us, we do a selfie and we're like, filter.
About the editing, I know there is a many clients that might be hearing me, like they know like what is my process for the editing. It's kind of delay things from me. The reason is like I shoot by myself and then I edit by myself. I don't believe on a next editor or any other person. Yeah, work on a main things like a main portrait, all the great photos, like a kind of a blog, maybe on my website, and highlight things, and a 1 hour short film. But there is some help from my assistants, but it's not 100%. It's just a 30 or 40%. I do 70% by my own, and it's took me like a week to 10 days to finish one good project. And if I shooting 30 weddings, you can multiply like how many days needed to edit, and that's why my project's running like 6 months, 8 months. Maybe there is some people they're waiting from a year, like, but still they know like.
So do you get messages like, "Where's our video and our photo?"
I got it, but like same time they know like because it's all going in a serial things like because lots of clients they know like what he did Vancouver's wedding in May. Right now he's a Snapchat about a Vancouver weddings editing in a December. It means 7 months. Like, so my wedding was in August, so I think I need to wait until March.
Yeah.
So they realize it, and they always appreciate. Like, I thank you everyone. They one of the bride, she texts me, what, I saw you was dating another girl. Even I saw your story on her wedding, and now you're dating her, and I love it. Like, she looks so beautiful. And I'm waiting for my one.
Yeah.
And that's the people.
Makes them more excited and look forward to their own.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And sometimes people get mad at me. I know it's very true. And they, they just text like, we're not gonna text you again. Like, do whatever you want now. Like, let us know whenever it's finished. But I surprise them in a way of like, I'll always text them in the midnight or in the morning. Like, here's the link for your photos. Here's a link for your highlights, and they got, oh wow, we didn't expect it.
So it's worth the wait.
Yeah.
And then I can see the smile of there is one my client, maybe they're watching the show, like I took from their album 9 months to finish it.
I was gonna ask you, you do have albums in your package as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I took 9 months to finish their album. They're from Winnipeg, and then the day they received the album, they got so crazy. Whole the family got it's really worthwhile to wait it. Like, it's so good product for years now. But that's how, like, if individual working on a one project, I think it's take time.
So what distinguishes you from other photographers? What makes your work unique, and why should people pick you?
Oh yeah, that's a good question actually. I think in a terms of thinking, every photographer have different mind. Like, I follow many photographers on my Instagram too. Like, and the reason why I'm like them, that they have a different mind from me, and that's why I'm thinking like I have a different mind from some other photographer, like maybe. And I always try to read the bride, like what kind of expectation she have, because the bride is the most kind of a queen in the weddings over here. And if you are a good photographer, might be you need to understand the bride first. Like, if you understand your bride, then totally.
Nowadays, the grooms are taking over too, though.
I hate so many grooms. They goes, bro, you know what? If she's happy, I'm happy.
Oh, that's good.
That's the how can
happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
That's the line. Yeah.
But we believe happy spouse, happy house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we believe.
The bride, like if you got your bride and she understand your work and you understand her all expectations, and I think I always fulfill the things they want, and that's why they recommend me for the next person. You know what? Maybe he's a from Punjab. He's not a born here, but whenever you will meet him, you give him like all your ideas. He will come with the more energy.
Okay, going back to what Sherry was saying, sorry. Sherry reminded me of a question that I had for you. I know like nowadays you could Photoshop a lot of things into pictures. So we saw this really beautiful picture with a camel and there's a bride and a groom. And did you Photoshop the camel in, or was the camel actually there?
I was in a Jaisalmer in India. I think it was in the year 2014.
Oh, okay.
And I still remember the name of couple, Simi and Simran.
Okay.
Yeah, they were from Canada, and we fly from here from Canada to directly Jaisalmer, There is a camel fair happened.
Oh, that's so
Years, I think, in
cool.
one
So
year.
it's a real camel.
Yeah, it was real
Okay,
camel, and
it's such a beautiful picture.
Yeah, such a great
Well, like
shot.
Shammi said, nowadays, you know, like we Photoshop Santa in our house for our kids.
Yeah,
You know, to
I've
show.
photoshopped a reindeer in front of my kids.
So you don't know, but it's such a nice picture, and we were wondering, like, is a camel?
Any Photoshop skills like a extra background or extra vector in my photos in last 10 years? There is no photo like which is done like extra vector I putting in my photos now.
Okay.
So, you know, we're really enjoying our conversation with you, but maybe we should move on to our next segment. It's called a speed round.
Yeah, so let's get, we have a bunch of questions written.
I'm just crazy about the name of speed round.
Speed round.
So Sherry's going to ask you questions from the speed round, and you have to answer them really fast, yes or no mostly, right?
And also for our viewers, like Shammi said at the beginning, if you have questions that you want us to ask any of our guests on the show, just send us your questions on the Mom Ladies on Instagram, and we'll make sure to ask your questions. So these questions, we just want fast answers. So either yes or no, or just quick responses, okay?
Can I skip it too?
Sure, no, nothing like that.
We do nothing like that, but
It's
if
our
you
first
really want
episode,
to,
nothing's really awkward or anything like
Okay.
that. So number one, I just want one word. Favorite thing about being a photographer?
Travel,
Biggest challenge?
preparation,
What's worse? A client asking to make changes after the final copy or multiple changes before the final copy?
after the final copy.
How annoying is it when people pull out their phones, we went through this, and start going in front of you to take pictures?
It's very annoying.
Very annoying. Do couples ever ask about camera gear or equipment?
They do sometimes.
And do you think it's useless? Because unless they're a photographer, they don't even understand what you're saying?
Yeah, it is useless.
because it's all about your own.
Do you think photographers see things differently in life? Like, do you always, even without a camera, are you always thinking about capturing a moment?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They're always in their own zone.
Right?
Who is your favorite photographer to work with?
In a wedding films, I like a Vishal. Like his name is a Vishal Punjabi.
Okay, and have you ever worked with him?
I text him and might be he's listening.
Maybe I can
Yeah.
meet Anushka Sharma. Who's the worst photographer you've ever worked with?
There's many. There's many.
You don't have to name them, but good to know.
Do you ever want to just stop or just kind of backhand someone when they're like, can I see the picture? Can I see my picture after you've taken them?
Not every time. Sometimes it's okay to show the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which photographer or videographer has inspired you the most?
Photographer inspired. There's a many, but from Punjab, Harnaveer Singh, and in a videography again Vishal.
What's one thing you wish you knew before started taking
My
pictures?
battery charge, camera batteries.
What suggestion would you give a new photographer?
Spend many hours on a YouTube and try to observe from wherever you can get it.
So those were questions from our followers. So last week we asked them if they had any questions.
And you did really good answering them really quickly.
So
Okay.
yeah, so like Sherry said, if anyone else has any questions, just to let us know beforehand, and we could always ask our vendor or
You know
whoever's
what other
on.
thing I always find? I gotta ask you this. I find this really awkward at parties. That does a videographer have to make video of people eating?
Yeah,
Because you know what happens? You're eating and you're just like chowing down your food, and then the videographer comes and you almost have to fake like that you're very proper, or you awkwardly look at the person next to you and you're like, they're making a movie, and everyone on the big screen can see your lips moving, saying they're making a movie.
I'm eating, and there's like noodles and Hakka noodles.
Because you wait to eat all day because you're waiting for the party.
Yeah, it is a situation in a wedding lot time, like because somewhere it's related to our culture. Like if you're gonna go back in the 90s and check your wedding videos,
You want to see what you ate?
yeah, there is a still maybe you can remember what you eat over there. Because yeah, but in those days that was very necessary. Like client says, oh, you know, you didn't take a photo of eating stuff, but nowadays it's changed. Like
maybe they like told them off, like, you didn't feed us.
Yeah,
You
but
didn't prove.
I capture them in a hidden way nowadays with the telephoto lenses for small time, like for a minute or two, but not the awkward things like go right off the table and shooting them from so close. Like,
Yeah.
that's not more nowadays.
You know what? I think that those are all the questions we had for you, Onkar. We really enjoyed our conversation with you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And we just wanted to tell all our viewers, we hope you enjoy this. And please subscribe to our new YouTube channel.
Chat and Sip. So yeah, make sure you subscribe. And the Mom Ladies on Instagram. Ask us any questions. Stay tuned for our next guest on Chat and Sip.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight.